This is the no bullshit guide to 7 tried and tested erection enhancers. Now, if you're here watching this video, there's a chance that you have compared yourself to other men when it comes to erections. That could be size, quality, whatever it may be. And we have these types of thoughts like, I bet they're great at sex, or I bet they have a bigger erection, I bet their partner is really satisfied with them. So stick around if you want to hear these. We're going to go from the smallest impact to the biggest, most fundamental impact. If you find this video helpful, in the bottom right, you'll see a button that says subscribe. Click on that button so that you can get the latest brand new tools and brand new videos as I share them. As we go through this, I'd like you to imagine a triangle. At the base of the triangle are going to represent the tips, the enhancers that have the biggest shift to enhancing our erections. So we question ourselves, we compare ourselves to others. These are normal questions to be asking, especially when we're experiencing performance anxiety or erection challenges. The real question is, who are we comparing ourselves to? Because like for most of us, we don't see the average person's dick on the street. For example, we don't. Where do we see it? What's our reference points? Usually porn, that's most of the time. And this is similar to organic food shopping. What? Let me explain. The other week I went to get some fruit and vegetables. Some of the shop was the genetically modified apples. The other part was the organic apples. Now, the genetically modified apples are like this, the organic apples are like that. I would be forgiven for thinking, if all my life, if all I saw were the genetically modified apples in the places that I looked, i.e. porn, when I see an organic apple that's this big, I would think, why is it so small? And so this is exactly the same thing, because we're comparing ourselves to what the majority of the population is not, what the majority of men are not. People are casting porn because of that very part of their body. So I want you to just think about that. Organic apples, who am I comparing myself to? Because when we compare ourselves to unrealistic standards, which you all know this, but what we do is we activate this stress loop where we have these continued what if thoughts. What if I'm not good enough? What if they're better than me in bed? What if another man is better than me in bed? And that adds stress and pressure. That goes round in a loop and a cycle, and we carry that into the bedroom with us, which affects our erections, which is exactly what we're talking about in this video. Okay, now we've spoken about that, let's move on to what are these 7 erection enhancers. So we're going to go through them in order of smallest to the biggest, things that make a fundamental difference to our erection quality. Number 1, so we're starting with the things that have the smallest impact, but they still have an impact. Trimming. Just trimming around that area of where the hair is out slightly over the dick, trimming that back, that's an immediate erection enhancer. Or even when we're soft, anyway. But if you haven't done that already, try it, you will see the difference. That's number 1. Number 2, Kegel exercises. Kegel exercises. You may have seen these on YouTube. I'm sure that you'll be familiar with these. Now, why do I put them in here? Because I have experimented with these over a significant period of time, and I feel like I did notice improvements in my erection quality. Now, I can't say that it was purely down to this, and I don't want to say it was purely down to that, but I noticed as I started to incorporate them, things did seem better. So that's why I feel like they're an important thing to include in the list. There are loads of videos on YouTube, but personally I'd recommend a lady called Michelle Kenway. I'll tag her below in the notes so that you can check her videos out, but that's who I'd recommend to get some basic Kegel exercises so you know what to do. And then I just incorporate them in at the end of each day when I've done a gym session, CrossFit session. So I spend 5 minutes, no more than that, doing some Kegel exercises right at the end, and that's it, so that I incorporate a daily habit into it. Now, before we go on to the rest, I would like to give you a guide. This is the number 1 mistake to avoid so that you can stay hard during sex and avoid having a lifelong erection problem. If that sounds good to you, then below in the comments you'll see the link to the number 1 mistake guide. Click on the link, it will take you straight to the page where you can get the free guide, and I will see you right there. Okay, let's continue with this. So number 3. This one is going to sound like the most out there of all of them, but I really rate this as something to incorporate into a daily habit. You may have heard me talk about it before. This is showing appreciation for our dick every day, and I genuinely mean this, okay? So I have a little note on my mirror that says a daily MC, which stands for daily mirror check, and at the end of the night, every night before I get into bed, I look at my body, all parts of my body, including my dick, and I show it appreciation. I say I love my shoulders, I love my chest, I love my dick, I love that, I love my balls, and I notice things about them that I didn't notice before, or I just show some love and appreciation. Okay, why do I do this? Because for many years, I asked the same questions that I spoke about at the beginning of this video. They're probably better in bed than me, or they have a bigger dick than me, or what if they give more pleasure to their partner? And this is what I filled my mind with, and I criticized my body, and I was asking for, ultimately, something else. I was arguing with reality. Now, we have two choices. I can either accept and love what I have, or I can spend my whole life pissed off about it, wishing that I had something else when that's not really possible. It's not really a viable option. So it took me some time, but now this is the option that I go with, actually showing some appreciation, and you will be very surprised after a couple of weeks of doing this, things start to change. How we perceive things start to change. How we feel about things, the type of thoughts that we have start to change. So I encourage you to put a note or some kind of message so you remember to do this, and do a daily check before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning to show appreciation, genuine, sincere appreciation for different parts of your body, including especially your dick. Okay, number 4, it had to be in there, porn. And now something specific with porn is erection tests, going back to porn to test our erections. If you experience erection problems, see if you can relate to this. Sometimes we think that, oh my God, I can't get fully hard as I used to when I watch porn, so we go back to porn to test and check, are things working how they used to? Or we say something like, if I get hard again when I'm watching this, then I know everything's okay. So we try and give ourselves these justifications, and actually, in reality, what that is doing is continuing that porn loop, continuing that porn cycle in our mind, and it makes us less effective when we're together with somebody in real life. And it keeps that pathway alive that says, doesn't matter, because eventually we'll be going back to the porn to get our dopamine hit. Now, number 5 and 6, I'm going to group those together. Remember, as we're going down the triangle, we're now into the last 3 that are the most fundamental changes. So these ones, out of everything I've spoken about, these next 3 are the most critical, the most fundamental. I said at the beginning of this video, this was going to be no bullshit advice, because personally, supplements, pills, things like this, we always see the newest thing on the market. Do I believe that these add some value? Yes, but they can never replace what I'm about to go through as these next 3. Pills, supplements, whether they're natural or man-made, will give or could give some kind of incremental, small, we're talking about very small percentage point shifts here. The next 3 we're about to go through will give you way more than any pill, any supplement could ever do. The first 2, and I want you to stick with me, if you're serious about this, I want you to stick with me through these next 3. First 2 are food and water. Food and water, making sure that our body is getting the right kind of nutrition and that we're hydrating our body. This is critical for our body to function, for our cells to be alive. If our cells are dead inside or weak inside, we can expect that to absolutely show up in the bedroom. So if we're hoping that the next supplement, the next thing on the market is going to be the thing that drastically changes all of this, whilst we're shoving shitty junk food down our throats, it's not going to happen. We're going to spend our life depressed, upset, annoyed, wishing for a different kind of body. Water and food are critical to putting our body in a high energy state, to making sure that our cells are alive. This translates into the bedroom. We feel better about ourselves, we think better things about ourselves, we have better thoughts, therefore we feel more relaxed and we have better erections. The final one, number 7, out of everything, if you only take one thing away, this is the one: sleep. sleep specifically for our erections. I've spoken about this before. A great book to read on this is called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. I had no idea before that sleep was so fundamental to erections, especially morning erections. If we're getting 5 or 6 hours sleep a night, or less than that in some cases, and expecting that we're able to function properly, and including during sex, we're deluded. It's not going to work that way. Sleeping is so critical for the body. Now, this sounds very obvious, but why is it important for our erection quality? Because there's two parts of sleep. Our REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement, and our NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement. Most of our sleep is in NREM, the last bit is in REM. The REM bit is the most restorative part of our sleep. This is where our erections happen the most often and where we wake up with a morning erection. If we cut our sleep off early, we simply do not get that REM sleep. We stay in the NREM stage and we don't get to the restorative part of sleep. This is why it is critical. We should be going for 8 hours a night, 8 or 9 hours a night. I know for many of us watching this video, hearing that, it's going to be like, oh my God, I'm nowhere near that. That's not even possible for me. But I really encourage you to A, get that book, and B, understand how it can be more possible. How could it be more possible to get more sleep? Because if you really want an erection enhancer, this is the #1 erection enhancer, is getting a quality night's sleep. Now, to test this is not going to happen overnight, no pun intended, right? We need to give this some time. The body, if the body has been used to shitty sleep for a long period of time, it's going to take a week or two to start noticing differences. But in the grand scheme of things, that's a very short space of time. So I really invite you to focus on how can I improve the quality of my sleep? What time do I need to switch my phone off by? What time do I need to be going to bed? Therefore, what time do I need to eat dinner, etc., to be in bed ready for that time? To have ideally 8 to 9 hours, a sleep window of 8 to 9 hours. Okay, so they are the 7 erection enhancers tried and tested by yours truly. I would love to hear what you have tried and tested. Please put that in the comments below. If there's anything that I haven't mentioned here before, I would love to hear it. Your link to the free guide, the #1 mistake guide, is in the comments below. So you can find out the #1 mistake to avoid so that you can stay hard during sex and avoid a lifelong erection problem.